Good day, students. Lecture number 3, Lexical Stylistic Devices, Part 2. Epithet is an adjective or an adjective phrase appropriately qualifying a subject, noun, by naming a key or important characteristics of the subject. Semantic-oriented epithet classification by Professor Skrebnev. Metaphorical epithet, metonymical epithet, and ironic. Structural characteristics of epithets. Preposition or one-word epithet, postposition one-word or hyperbaton, two-step phrase, inverted. Oxymoron is a combination of two semantically contradictory notions that help to emphasize contradictory qualities simultaneously existing in the described phenomenon as the dialectal unity. For example, low skyscraper, sweet sorrow, nice rascal, pleasantly ugly face. Antithesis. This phenomenon is incomparably more frequent than oxymoron. The term antithesis, from Greek anti against, thesis statement, has a broad range of meanings. It denotes any active confrontation, emphasized co-occurrence of notions, really and presumably constructive. The most natural or regular expression of contrast is the use of antonyms. We have already seen it: best, worst, wisdom, foolishnesses, light, darkness, everything, nothing. Antithesis is not only an expressive device used in every type of emotional speech, poetry, imaginative prose, oratory, colloquial speech, but also, like other stylistic means, the basis of set phrases, some of which are not necessarily emphatic unless pronounced with special force. Antonomasia is the use of a common name as a proper noun and the use of a proper noun as a common name. The term is derived from the Greek word antonomasiain, meaning to name differently. A title, epithet, or descriptive phrase may serve as a substitute for a personal name. It includes speaking names characterizing the person meant. For example, Mr. Snake, Mrs. Dirty Fringe, Mr. Altruism. There are two types of antonomasia, trite and genuine. In trite antonomasia, the association between the name and the qualities of the bearer is a result of long and frequent usage. In genuine antonomasia, this association is unexpected, fresh. For example, he would met Miss Original Pure and planned to marry her. Antonomasia may serve to signify a member of group or class, to characterize the bearer of the name, to create humorous effect. The second, intensification of a feature, simile, hyperbole, and periphrasis. Simile, it's an imaginative comparison. This is an explicit statement of a partial identity of two objects. The word identity is only applicable to certain features of the objects compared. In fact, the objects cannot be identical. They are only similar. They resemble each other due to some identical features. A simile has manifold forms, semantic features, and expressive aims. As already mentioned, a simile may be combined with or accompanied by another stylistic device, or it may achieve one stylistic effect or another. Thus, it is often based on exaggeration of properties described. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement. It presents a deliberate distortion of proportions and is not meant to be taken literally. Hyperbole may be used due to highly emotional attitude of the speaker towards the subject discussed. For example, I have been on the road longer than asphalt. His hands dangled a mile out of his sleeves, and feet might have served for shovels. By Irving. The main sphere of the use of hyperbole is colloquial speech. Many colloquial hyperbolas are trite. Such expressions may all lose their expressive power due to their frequent use and often come unobserved in the flow of speech. Neither the listener nor sometimes even the speaker notice the exaggeration. In poetry and prose, hyperbole is noticed and appreciated by the reader. A genuine hyperbole is exaggeration on a big scale. There must be something illogical in it, something unreal, utterly impossible, contrary to common sense, and even stunning by its suddenness. By Skrebnev. Hyperbole is used to serve expressive and emotive purposes, to emphasize quantity or quality by exaggerating, to produce some humorous effect. Hyperbole is often combined with other stylistic devices, metaphor, simile, and irony, etc. For example, he gave me a look that could set asbestos on fire. Litotes or litotes is a specific variety of meiosis expressing an idea by the negation of the opposite idea. Thus, she is not unattractive means attractive, but the positive meaning in the negative construction is weaker. Litotes can be of different kinds. Construction with the particle not and the word with affixes expressing a negative. Lack or opposite. Negation of the antonym. A construction with the negative particle and prepositions without. Litotes is used in different styles of speech. Its main stylistic functions are to enhance the effect of the expressed ideas through their apparent weakening. It's used to impress by moderation, to make statements and judgments sound less categorical, more diplomatic, to express irony. Periphrasis is a stylistic device where the meaning of a word or phrase is indirectly expressed through the several or many words. This way of identifying the subject of speech is related to metonymy. The distinction between these two terms is that periphrasis cannot be expressed by one linguistic unit. It always consists of more than one word. Thus, calling a gun shooter, the speakers use a trite metonymy. Calling it the instrument of law, the instrument of destruction, they use periphrasis. This stylistic device has a long history. It was widely used in the Bible. Some occurrences are he who is sitting on the throne, the deity. In past epochs, periphrasis was also employed to achieve a more elegant manner of expression. Thus, Melville characterizes the Renaissance as a high hour of renovative years following the second deluge, when the waters of the Dark Ages had dried up and once more the green appeared. In contemporary prose, periphrasis is used to bring out and intensify some features of properties of a given object, to avoid monotonous repetition, to create humorous effect. Periphrasis classified into figurative and illogical. Figurative periphrasis is based either on metaphor or metonymy. Logical periphrasis is based in one of the inherent properties, or perhaps a passing feature of the object described. Most of these think that a metaphor as a device used in songs or poems only, and that it has nothing to do with our everyday life. In fact, all of us in our routine life speak, write, and think in metaphors. We cannot avoid them. Metaphors are sometimes constructed through our common language, and they are called conventional metaphors. For instance, calling a person night owl or early bird, or saying life is a journey, are common examples of metaphors heard and understood by most of us. Below are some more conventional metaphors we often hear in our daily life. My brother was boiling mad. This implies he was too angry. The assignment was breeze. This implies that the assignment was not difficult, and so on. Metaphor examples in literature here is given a lot. For example, metaphors are used in all types of literature, but not often on the degree they are used in poetry. This is because poems are meant to communicate complex images and feelings to readers, and metaphors often state the comparison most emotively. Here are some examples of metaphor from famous poems. For example, The Sun Rising by John Donne. She's all states and all princes I, John Donne, a metaphysical poet, was all well known for his abundant use of metaphors throughout his poetical works. In his well-known work, The Sun Rising, the speaker calls the sun for waking him and his beloved. Among the most evocative metaphors in literature, he explains she's all states and all princes I. This line demonstrates the speaker's belief that he and his beloved are richer than all states, kingdoms, and rulers in the entire world because of the love that they share. Function of metaphor. From the above arguments, explanations, and examples, we can easily infer the function of metaphors, both in our daily lives and in a piece of literature. Using appropriate metaphors appeals directly to the senses of listeners or readers, sharpening their imagination to comprehend what is being communicated to them. Moreover, it gives a lifelike quality to our conversations and to the characteristics of the function of poetry. Metaphors are also ways of thinking, offering the listeners and the readers fresh ways of examining ideas and viewing the world. Thank you. That is the end of the lecture number 3.